A polygamous leader and 3 of his female followers pleaded not guilty in a Phoenix courtroom today to do more than 50 counts, including child sex abuse and destroying evidence.
His name is Samuel Bateman. He's a self-proclaimed prophet of the FLDS polygamous group based out of Colorado City that's infamous for its convicted leader Warren Jeffs. Bateman claimed these women and children were all his brides, some of them very young. True Crime Arizona's Brianna Whitney is here. Several of his female followers showed up to support him in court today, despite just the horrific nature of the charges.
Awful. I mean, some of these girls that are involved in this were 8 and 9 years old. This all really comes down to cult-like tactics and manipulation. I spoke to a forensic psychologist today. He says it's likely some of Bateman's followers know what was happening was wrong, and others who truly believe horrific acts like these are okay. Both schools of thought have an underlying factor of fear and belonging.
Arraigned in court Friday, Samuel Bateman and 3 women followers pleading not guilty to child sex abuse of underage girls who Bateman claimed as his brides. Now, 11 members of Bateman's FLDS offshoot group face 51 felony counts for transporting children across state lines to facilitate sexual activity, recording it, destroying evidence, and witness tampering.
Some of them actually know that what they're doing is wrong, but they find no way out.
Forensic psychologist John Delatorre says even though some of these women had their own children abused, many of them have known this as a way of life since they were young and are easily manipulated and influenced by leaders like Bateman and the one who rose to fame, self-proclaimed prophet Warren Jeffs, who still has followers despite a life sentence in prison for sexually abusing underage girls he married. Delatorre says it's instilled in these women and girls' minds that they chose this life.
So they just allow the thought that, well, because I chose this, that must mean I wanted it. Right? That's not accurate because it's part of the manipulation. But that's what they believe, and because of that, they end up staying and doing things that they wouldn't have done otherwise.
47-year-old Bateman has been accused of taking at least 20 wives, including children as young as 8 and 9 years old. An indictment published earlier this month says he was having sex with minor girls on a regular basis and filming it, not only in Arizona, but also in Utah, Colorado, and Nebraska. 2 women, including one with a baby, sat in the gallery in court Friday and said they were there to support all defendants. Delatorre says, while it's hard for people to understand how these women could still support Bateman and his followers with charges as disturbing as these, he says it's often generational grooming that doesn't stop no matter what happens.
They truly do not believe that what happened was wrong because either it had happened to them, right? They were trafficked and abused the same way. So because they survived, then it's not that big of a deal, or the messaging that they heard that they've internalized as being accurate is such that these kinds of behaviors were always seen as okay.
Sadly, the indictment also claims several men and women followers denied allegations of abuse to DCS, even of their own children here in Arizona. The next hearing for the case is set for late June, and Bateman's trial is set for March of next year. It is awful having to read this stuff.
I get that they think that it's okay because they feel like they chose it, but as far as defending him, what specifically was the defense that they were saying in court?
They wouldn't say anything to the reporters that were there. They wouldn't give their names. They just said they're going to be acquitted of these crimes, and we are here to support them. So they didn't give much detail. Of note, though, those 2 supporters in the courtroom did not come in that traditional clothing that you see them wear. They actually wore T-shirts and jeans. So that is something different that we saw, but there are still people who believe that they're innocent.
I have to say, I foolishly assumed that his alleged accomplices were men when this court document first surfaced yesterday, the day before, when you guys first started reporting on it, and come to find out they were women who are accused of the same crimes he's accused of.
Yeah, I mean, following his lead, of course, but yeah, and a lot of them are young adults. Yeah. But it's sad. The whole thing is sad.
Generations of abuse in that community.
Just disturbing, to hear the details. Thank you, Brianna.